Nathan was the kind of student who always sat in the front row, notebook open, pen poised, ready to capture every word. It was the first day of Advanced Biology of Exobiology, a course that promised to delve into the biology of species from across the known galaxies. As Professor Marlowe adjusted his glasses and surveyed the room, the anticipation was palpable. "Welcome, everyone," Professor Marlowe began, his voice echoing slightly in the spacious lecture hall. "This term, we will explore not just the theoretical underpinnings of alien biology, but also engage directly with the practical aspects that come with such diverse biological systems." The door at the back of the lecture hall swung open with a slight creak. All heads turned as a figure slipped quietly inside. She was taller than most, her skin a shimmering blue, with delicate patterns that seemed to shift subtly as she moved. She found a seat at the back, trying to draw as little attention to herself as possible. "That's Anara," whispered Tim, another student sitting next to Nathan. "She's from Zelia, about 30 light-years away. Heard she's the first of her kind to join our program." Nathan's interest was piqued. He scribbled down a note to himself to learn more about Zelians. Professor Marlowe continued, "This semester, we are fortunate to have Anara join our class. Anara has volunteered to assist in our practical sessions by sharing insights into her species' anatomy." He gestured toward her, inviting her to stand. The room filled with a polite applause as Anara stood up, her eyes scanning the room with a mixture of curiosity and caution. "Thank you, Professor Marlowe," Anara said, her voice clear and melodious. "I am here not only to learn, but also to contribute to your understanding of Zelian biology. I hope my presence here will be beneficial for all." Nathan watched her, impressed by her eloquence and bravery in such an unfamiliar setting. As a start, would anyone like to ask Anara any initial questions? Professor Marlowe asked, looking around the room. A few hands shot up. The first was from a student at the back. "What's the biggest difference between human and Zelian biology?" Anara smiled, seemingly pleased with the question. "Our cardiovascular system is quite different. For one, Zelians have 2 hearts. It's beneficial for our circulation and quite handy in Zelia's lower gravity." The students murmured among themselves, intrigued by this revelation. Nathan took detailed notes, his mind already buzzing with questions he wanted to ask. As the session moved into a more informal Q&A, Nathan felt a tap on his shoulder. Turning around, he met the eyes of Mike, another biology major. "Hey, Nathan, how about we team up on the project Professor mentioned? With your notes and my knack for genetic models, we could really dive deep into Zelian physiology." Nathan nodded, eager to collaborate. "That sounds great, Mike. Let's talk more after class." As the lecture concluded, students gathered their belongings. Nathan approached Anara, who was now surrounded by a small group of curious classmates. "Hi, Anara, I'm Nathan," he said, extending a hand. "I was really impressed by what you shared today. Would you mind if I asked a few more questions? Perhaps over coffee?" Anara considered this for a moment, then nodded. "I would like that, Nathan. It's important to share knowledge, isn't it?" "Absolutely," Nathan replied with a smile. "I'll catch up with you outside." As they walked out together, the buzz of potential discoveries filled the air, setting the stage for a semester of learning and unprecedented collaboration. Nathan felt a surge of excitement. This was exactly why he had come to this university: to learn, to explore, and now, to make unexpected alliances. In the university's state-of-the-art biology lab, Nathan, Mike, and Anara gathered around the central lab table. Tools, microscopes, and interactive displays were neatly arranged, ready for the day's exploration. "All right, everyone," Professor Marlowe began, adjusting the holographic projector to display a detailed anatomical model of a Zelian. "Today, we'll take a closer look at the Zelian vascular system, which is quite fascinating. Anara has graciously agreed to provide us with real-time bio readings." Anara nodded, attaching sensor pads to her arms. "These readings will show you the activity of both my hearts. It's quite different from human heartbeats, you'll see." Mike leaned in, his eyes fixed on the monitors as the readings came alive with pulsating graphs. "That's incredible," he remarked. "The synchronization between the 2 hearts. It's almost like they're communicating in real time." Nathan, jotting down observations, looked up with interest. Anara, does this dual-heart system help with oxygenation efficiency in your planet's atmosphere? Yes, exactly, Anara replied. Our atmosphere is thinner, so the efficiency in blood oxygenation is crucial for our physical activities and survival. As the trio discussed the implications, Jack, another student who specialized in xenobiological environments, joined the conversation. I'm working on a simulation of Zelia's atmosphere. Maybe we can collaborate, Anara, to see how these biological features interact with environmental factors. Anara smiled, pleased with the initiative. I think that would be a great application of this data. The session turned into a dynamic brainstorming as the students discussed potential research angles and experiments. Nathan, noticing the collaborative spirit, suggested, "Why don't we form a study group? We could meet weekly, dive deeper into our findings, and really take advantage of having Anara here." Mike clapped his hands together. "I'm in. It's a chance to get hands-on with some xenobiology. Plus, we could use this as a basis for our end-of-semester project." "Count me in as well," Jack added, looking between his peers. "There's a lot to explore, and I think we can come up with something truly groundbreaking." With the plan in place, the group spent the rest of the session setting up experiments and discussing logistics for their study group. As they wrapped up, Nathan approached Anara, who was carefully removing the sensors. "Thanks for today, Anara. It's not every day we get to work directly with someone who can give us first-hand insight into alien physiology." Anara packed away the last of her equipment. "Thank you, Nathan, for being so welcoming and curious. It's refreshing to see such enthusiasm." As they left the lab, Nathan couldn't help but feel excited about the possibilities ahead. This collaboration was more than just an academic exercise. It was a bridge between worlds, and he was right at the forefront. With Anara's insights and the group's combined expertise, there was no limit to what they could discover together. The university library was bustling with students as midterms approached, but Nathan, Mike, Jack, and Anara found a quiet corner to conduct their weekly study group. The table was littered with textbooks, laptops, and digital tablets displaying complex biological diagrams and xenobiological data. Jack opened the session with a grin. "I've got the simulation running. It models the atmospheric conditions of Zelia based on the data Anara provided last week. We should see how it affects her species' unique physiology." Anara, looking intrigued, peered over Jack's shoulder. "This is fascinating, Jack. It's like looking at a weather forecast for my home planet." Nathan laughed, then turned serious as he presented his part. "I've been reading up on comparative anatomy between humans and Zelians. There are more similarities than I expected, especially in the nervous system. It could help explain some of the sensory overlap we've noticed." Mike, who had been setting up a holographic display, chimed in, "Speaking of overlap, check this out." He gestured towards the hologram, which now showed a 3D comparison of human and Zillion skeletal structures. "The adaptations in Zillion bone density are likely responses to your planet's gravity, right?" "Yes, exactly," Anara confirmed, examining the holographic bones. "Our lower gravity allows for lighter, yet stronger, bone structures. It's perfect for our environment, but would be problematic here on Earth." As the group discussed the implications, they were approached by Professor Chen, a guest lecturer known for his work in exoplanetary environments. "I couldn't help overhearing," he said with a warm smile. "You're tackling some advanced concepts here. How about incorporating real-world applications into your project? Perhaps a comparative study on how terrestrial and Zillion physical therapies could benefit from these insights." "That sounds incredible," Nathan responded, enthusiastic about the new angle. "It would give our study a practical application beyond academic interest." Professor Chen nodded, pleased. "I'll forward you some contacts in the physiotherapy department. They might be eager to collaborate on such a unique project." The team spent the next hour outlining their expanded project scope, integrating both the new data and the suggestions from Professor Chen. They assigned tasks, with Nathan and Jack focusing on environmental factors, while Mike would handle the anatomical models. Anara volunteered to provide personal insights and verify the accuracy of their Zillion models. As the meeting concluded, the group felt a renewed sense of purpose. Mike packed up his gear and said, "This is more than just a project. It's like we're piecing together a puzzle of interstellar biology. Yeah, Nathan agreed as they walked out of the library together. And it's not just academic. We're building bridges between human and alien understanding, one fact at a time. Anara smiled, looking back at the library. And to think, this all started because I shared a little about my home. I'm glad I met you all. As they parted ways, each felt the weight of the upcoming tasks, but also the excitement of pushing the boundaries of xenobiology. Their collaboration was not just about grades or projects. It was about expanding horizons and fostering an understanding that spanned galaxies. Late afternoon sunlight filtered through the cafe windows, casting a warm glow over Nathan and Anara as they sipped their drinks. They'd become regulars here, a spot where they exchanged not just academic ideas but personal stories and cultural insights. So, you mentioned Zillion festivals last time, Nathan said, stirring his coffee. What's one that you missed the most? Anara's eyes lit up. Oh, the Luminera. It's a festival of lights, quite similar to your Diwali, perhaps. We celebrate it on the longest night of the year to symbolize the triumph of light over darkness, knowledge over ignorance. That sounds beautiful, Nathan replied, genuinely intrigued. We have so many festivals here on Earth, but each culture's celebration brings a unique flavor. Their conversation was interrupted by Mike and Jack, who arrived, carrying their own trays laden with late afternoon treats. Talking about festivals without us? Mike joked as he settled down. Jack, ever the cultural enthusiast, joined in. Actually, that gives me an idea. Why don't we host a cultural exchange night right here at the university? We could showcase traditions from Earth and Zelia. It'd be a great break from all the studying too. Anara smiled, appreciative of the inclusive gesture. I'd love to share more about Zelia with everyone. Maybe even prepare some traditional Zelian dishes. The idea was met with enthusiastic agreement. Plans quickly blossomed as they discussed logistics, invitations, and presentations. Nathan took notes on his tablet, outlining a rough program and assigning tasks. Let's make it educational too, Nathan suggested. Not just food and dance, but maybe short talks about different traditions, their meanings, how they compare to human practices. Mike, who had a knack for organization, nodded in approval. I can handle the venue and tech setup. Jack, you good with coordinating the talks? Jack was already jotting down ideas. Absolutely. I think we can get some professors involved too, make it an interdisciplinary event. As the meeting wound down, the group's conversation drifted back to personal experiences. Anara shared more about her journey to Earth, the challenges and surprises of living on a different planet. Nathan listened intently, his admiration for Anara growing. You've adapted incredibly well, Anara. It's not easy being so far from home, surrounded by a completely different culture. Anara's expression softened. It's conversations like these, with friends like you, that make it easier. I feel less like a visitor and more a part of this community now. The cafe began to empty as the evening progressed. As they left, Nathan felt a sense of accomplishment, not just in their academic pursuits, but in bridging the gaps between two vastly different worlds. He looked forward to the cultural exchange night, eager to celebrate the diversity that Anara brought into their lives and the new understanding they were all gaining from each other. The cultural exchange night had drawn a curious and enthusiastic crowd to the university's main hall. Decorations reflecting both earthly and Zillian traditions adorned the walls, creating a vibrant tapestry of colors and lights. Nathan and Anara, along with Mike and Jack, mingled among the attendees, sharing stories and insights about the displays. Nathan, standing next to a model of the Zillian solar system expertly crafted by Jack, was explaining the unique orbits of Zillian planets to a group of fascinated students. Each orbit is highly elliptical, unlike the more circular orbits of our solar system, he detailed, pointing to the interactive holographic display. Nearby, Anara was setting up a tasting station with Zillian delicacies, her hands carefully arranging the colorful array of foods. Mike approached, his expression one of mild apprehension. Okay, give it to me straight, Anara. How adventurous should I be with this? He joked, eyeing a particularly exotic-looking dish. Anara laughed, her voice light and inviting. Start with this one. It's called Carol, very popular during Luminera. It's sweet, with a hint of spice. Nothing too wild for your palate. As Mike tentatively tasted the dish, his eyes lit up. This is amazing. You need to give me the recipe for this. Anara promised to share it, pleased with the positive response. As the evening progressed, Nathan and Anara found a quiet moment away from the crowd, near a display of traditional Zillian garments. Nathan turned to Anara, his tone more serious than before. Anara, I've been thinking a lot about how much you've shared with us, about Zelia, about yourself. It's brave what you're doing, being so far from home and yet so open. It's really inspiring. Anara met his gaze, her blue eyes reflecting the soft lights. Thank you, Nathan. It's not always easy, but tonight makes it feel worthwhile. Seeing everyone so engaged, so happy to learn about where I come from. It makes the distance from home feel smaller. Their conversation deepened, moving to their personal dreams and aspirations. Nathan shared his hopes of using his biology degree to help bridge the understanding between different species, not just scientifically but culturally. Anara listened intently, then spoke softly. I've never met anyone quite like you, Nathan. Your passion for understanding and integration. It's more than just academic for you. It's personal. Feeling a surge of emotion, Nathan took a step closer. It is personal, Anara. Especially now, because you're a big part of that passion. I feel like I've found something really special here, with you. In the quiet of the hall, away from the laughter and music, Nathan and Anara shared their first kiss. It was a gentle, tentative connection, but it spoke volumes. They stood there, amidst the celebration of cultures, in a quiet embrace that marked the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. As the night drew to a close, they walked out of the hall together, hands entwined. The success of the evening was evident not just in the joy and laughter of the guests, but in the silent understanding that had blossomed between Nathan and Anara. They were no longer just classmates or even friends. They had discovered a deeper connection, one that promised to explore not just the mysteries of the universe, but those of the heart. As word spread about the successful cultural exchange night, Nathan and Anara found themselves at the center of a much larger conversation across campus. Their story, a symbol of interspecies understanding and personal connection, sparked debates and discussions in classrooms, online forums, and even in the local media. In the university cafeteria, Nathan and Anara joined Mike and Jack for lunch, where the atmosphere was buzzing with the latest talk about interspecies relations. I heard Dr. Simmons mentioning our project in his lecture on xenosociology, Jack said, unable to hide his excitement. It's like we're suddenly celebrities around here. Mike chimed in, half joking. Yeah, and I've been fielding questions about Zillian food ever since you introduced those dishes, Anara. Everyone wants to know when the next tasting is. Anara smiled, clearly pleased, but her eyes held a hint of concern. It's wonderful to see such interest, but I hope it remains respectful and curious, not just sensational. Nathan nodded in agreement. We've got a unique opportunity to influence how humans and Zillians understand each other. We need to handle it with care. Their discussion was interrupted by Professor Marlowe, who approached their table with a friendly nod. Mind if I join you for a moment? I've been hearing a lot about your initiatives. Of course, Professor, Nathan replied, making room. We were just discussing the impact of our project. Professor Marlowe settled in, looking at each of them with a thoughtful expression. Your work has not only highlighted the academic value of studying xenobiology, but has also underscored the social implications of human-alien interactions. I've been asked to speak at a conference next month about integrating more practical interspecies education into our curriculum, largely thanks to your project. That's incredible, Professor. Anara responded, clearly touched. We started this to enhance our understanding, but it's evolving into something that might change how interspecies education is approached. The conversation shifted towards planning future projects and possibly setting up a regular interspecies dialogue series. Mike suggested, what if we organized monthly talks? We could invite speakers from various disciplines and species to discuss not just biology but cultural, social, and ethical issues too. Jack was quick to support the idea. It's a perfect way to keep the momentum going, and it gives us a platform to explore complex topics in a structured way. Professor Marlowe was impressed. I'll support this initiative any way I can. I believe it could become a vital part of our university's commitment to fostering a deeper understanding between species. As lunch came to an end, Nathan and Anara stayed back to discuss the details. They felt a shared responsibility to guide this budding interest in interspecies relations thoughtfully and ethically. Anara, are you okay with all this attention? Nathan asked, concern evident in his voice. Anara considered his question for a moment before answering. It's more than I anticipated, but yes, I'm okay. It feels like we're making a real difference, Nathan. And doing that with you, it feels right. Nathan reached across the table, squeezing her hand. We'll do this together, and we'll make sure it's done right. Their shared commitment to this cause was more than just academic. It was a testament to their growing bond, an emblem of their belief in the power of understanding and connection. As they walked out of the cafeteria, they knew they were stepping into new roles, not just as students but as pioneers of a new kind of dialogue between humans and aliens. The semester was drawing to a close, and the university buzzed with the energy of upcoming finals and the anticipation of summer. Nathan, Anara, Mike, and Jack decided to meet at their favorite campus spot, a serene park known for its ancient trees and quiet walking paths. As they found a shaded bench, Nathan brought up the latest development in their ongoing project. The monthly interspecies dialogue series has been approved by the university. They're even providing a grant to fund it. We're officially organizers now. That's fantastic. Mike responded enthusiastically. This could really become something big, a model for other universities. Jack, who had been deep in thought, added, and with the grant, we could also bring in guest speakers from off-world. Imagine having a Zillion scholar or a diplomat discussing peace and cooperation efforts. Anara's eyes brightened at the suggestion. That would be incredible. There's much we can learn from each other, and having diverse voices would enrich the dialogue. As they discussed potential speakers and topics for the series, Professor Chen approached, his presence always a sign of encouragement. I've heard about your grant, he said with a smile. You four are really making waves. How are the preparations going? Nathan explained their plans, and Professor Chen nodded approvingly. This is exactly the kind of initiative that changes worlds. You're not just talking about integration, you're actively creating it. Encouraged by his words, the group discussed more immediate concerns. Mike pointed out, we need to be strategic about our topics. The first few sessions will set the tone for the entire series. Jack agreed, pulling out his tablet to jot down some ideas. Let's tackle some challenging topics too, not just the feel-good stuff. We need to address the real issues of interspecies relations, like legal rights, cultural misunderstandings, and even conflicts. Anara suggested, we could start with a session on the biology of peace. It could explore how biological similarities and differences influence cultural and peaceful interactions. That's a brilliant start, Nathan said, looking to each of his friends. We're really onto something meaningful here. As they wrapped up their meeting, their conversation turned lighter, reflecting on the semester's successes and the summer plans ahead. Nathan turned to Anara, his voice a mix of curiosity and concern. Are you heading back to Zelia for the break? Anara shook her head, a gentle smile playing on her lips. I've decided to stay here over the summer. I want to work on the dialogue series, and honestly, I can't think of a better way to spend my break. Nathan felt a surge of happiness at her decision. I'm glad you're staying. This place wouldn't be the same without you. Their conversation drifted to plans for the next few weeks, interspersed with laughter and shared looks of understanding. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the park, they stood and gathered their things. Walking back toward the main campus, Nathan felt a sense of deep satisfaction. The projects, the dialogues, the friendships, it was all coming together in a way that felt profoundly right. As they parted ways at the library, Nathan looked back at Anara, who waved with a bright smile. The future was uncertain, full of challenges and opportunities, but together, they were ready to face whatever came their way. The graduation ceremony was held in the grand auditorium of the university, filled with the buzz of excited graduates and proud family members. Nathan, Anara, Mike, and Jack wore their caps and gowns, standing together as they awaited their turn to walk across the stage. Nathan looked over at Anara, who seemed thoughtful amidst the celebrations. Nervous about the speech? He asked gently, knowing she was selected to give the valedictory address. A bit, Anara admitted with a smile. It's a big moment, summarizing our journey here, especially with everything we've started together. Mike clapped Nathan on the back, grinning broadly. You guys are going to steal the show. This project has become a highlight of the year. Just think of the impact it's going to have going forward. Jack chimed in, adjusting his tassel. It's not every day you get to be part of something that truly pushes boundaries. We've really been part of something special. As their names were called, they proceeded to the stage, each receiving their diplomas with wide smiles and firm handshakes from the dean. Anara then took her position at the podium for the valedictory speech, her presence commanding the room's attention. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow graduates, professors, and honored guests, Anara began, her voice steady and clear. Today marks a significant milestone in our lives. We are here to celebrate not just the completion of our academic journeys, but also the beginning of new chapters. Chapters that we write not just for ourselves, but for our communities, our planets, and perhaps even our galaxy. She continued, weaving her personal story into the larger narrative of interspecies cooperation and understanding. This university has given us a unique platform, an environment where a human and a Zulian could collaborate, learn, and build something with the potential to bridge worlds. Our project, which started as a simple academic requirement, evolved into a dialogue series that we hope will continue long after we have left these halls. The audience listened, captivated by her vision and sincerity. When she concluded, the applause was thunderous, resonating with the hope and promise her words conveyed. After the ceremony, as they gathered outside among the throngs of jubilant graduates and their families, Nathan turned to Anara. That was an amazing speech. You really captured everything we've been working toward. Anara beamed, her relief palpable. Thank you, Nathan. It felt like the right moment to reflect on all that we've achieved together. Mike and Jack joined them, and the group decided to head to their favorite cafe one last time as students. Over coffee, they discussed their future plans. Nathan had accepted a position at a research institute focused on xenobiology, while Anara would be joining a non-profit dedicated to fostering interspecies dialogues. I think we're all heading in directions that will let us continue the work we've started here, Nathan said, feeling a mix of excitement and nostalgia. Yeah, Jack agreed, raising his cup. To new beginnings, wherever they may lead us. They toasted to their futures, to friendships, and to the endless possibilities that lay ahead. As the sun set on their final day as university students, they parted ways with promises to keep in touch and to continue pushing the boundaries of understanding and cooperation, both in their careers and beyond. Walking away from the cafe, Nathan felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The journey had been challenging and transformative, and he knew that the friendships and collaborations forged here would last a lifetime.